You guys could have gone inside today, but you stayed outside through the rain. Was that just a good opportunity to get used to conditions you might play in kind of thing, or what was the thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, we play in these elements, and so the challenge is welcome. As long as there's not lightning, we'll be out here playing.
What do you think of the freshmen early enrollees so far?
Robbie, it's a little early. I'm just kidding. They've done a great job. I mean, they were out there today, and so it's fun. It's fun to see them out there, and that's why you come in early, is to get a chance to compete. And I'm sure we're going to look at the practice, and there's going to be a lot to clean up. But we see flashes, and the things that we knew about them, we've seen show up. I think they've done a nice job through winter conditioning, acclimating. It's a big jump. But it was a good first day. Yeah, we had fun.
Clark, I saw that Mike Wright had his number already. What have you seen from him, and then from the other quarterbacks? How is that shaping up?
Yeah, well, obviously AJ's new, and Ken is still recovering from injury. Mike has stepped into a leadership role that we would expect from a quarterback, and he's taken ownership of that. And so we're pleased with him. And yet there's going to be things that we need him to clean up in performance today. But I know he was excited to be out in the field. I think those guys are doing a great job. Obviously, we know that Ken brings leadership too, and AJ's a young guy coming on. But pleased with that group and proud with the way Mike's handled himself through the offseason to earn a jump.
Is Ken's injury the same as last season, or is it a different injury?
It's the same. It's just lingering, and we want to put him in the best position to be his competitive best. And so there's no reason for us to push right now to get him back. He will be back. He was able to function today in a limited fashion, and we felt good about that. So he'll progress through the spring. We expect him back here shortly, but don't want to rush it because we want him to have a chance to be his competitive best.
This time a year ago, you're 3 months into the job. You're first-time head coach. You're moving a family to a new city. You got a rebuilding job. All the things you know. How much easier is running and preparing for spring practice this year than it was this time a year ago?
Yeah, there's a comfort level. I mean, I'm still learning and growing and getting better. I need to get better as a coach. And I don't know when that'll stop, Chris, honestly. I mean, that's going to be an ongoing process. But what's fun is the relationships and just being out here with guys that you've built really through adversity, too, because nothing strengthens you like going through hard things together. I mean, it's just fun to be on the field with our players. And the staff that returned is eager, obviously, and the staff that's new has stepped right in lockstep with what the program needs to be. And it was fun to be out here. We had a good time practicing. The kids had a good time, and we'll be excited to do it again on Friday.
How did you approach having to replace the majority of the defensive staff in the offseason? And, Ann Pruney said that, the defense hasn't been that much different. Was that a priority for you?
I wanted to retain language because to me, the replacing systems is what's hard. Replacing people is emotionally hard, but we can appreciate the contributions people make while they're here. Wish them well, but I wanted our players to be able to connect to the language of the defense. We have made subtle adjustments there, and that's to make us function a little more efficiently. And that's me also being more involved in terms of the meetings with our staff and getting the system in place. As far as replacing the coaches, I mean, I stayed pretty close within my circle of network, and so a lot of the guys that I brought on, obviously Nick Howell's already here. He comes from a program that is very similar to what we're doing. I think culturally, it's just he strengthens us, and so that was I brought him here for the purpose of him being next. I didn't know how quick that would happen, but I was excited to give him that opportunity and to have him ready for it. And so he was an easy add. Nick Lazinski is a guy that he was like my right hand at Notre Dame for 3 years. I've watched him recruit. I've watched him coach. I know how he builds relationships. He's exactly what Vanderbilt football needs, and that was easy. Larry Black, I worked with at Notre Dame. Larry's established a reputation as a tactician and a technician, but also relationship builder, recruiter. And then Dan Jackson on defense also. And Dan, I've kind of had crossover with for a long time. And so very intentional about knowing more about these staff members that I added because we needed to quickly assimilate together, and I didn't need to spend a lot of time explaining what my expectations are. These guys know, and so we can immediately focus our attention on the players, and that ultimately will get us where we're trying to go faster.
You spoke about being involved in the defense. How much of that is just going to be a philosophical, that's what you want to be as a head coach? How much of that is keeping the continuity and the stuff that you already referred to in the terms and stuff, and just making sure it's not too hard on your guys?
It's both. I want there to be a line. And look, in the world we live in anymore in college football, I mean, there's going to be opportunities for coaches, and again, if we can allow our systems to stay our systems, you have a chance to draw a line from year 1 to year 2. And that to me is what's most important. So my involvement can help bridge year 1 to year 2. But I think also, I mean, like, there's a style of defense, there's a structure of defense that I'm really interested in. And some of my frustrations a year ago weren't so much in that we didn't have the right calls, but it's like, how we execute in the moment. Those perimeter screens that outrun you, when we get the top of the coverage blown off, that has less to do with add another defense and more to do with like tightening down the details within each call. And so for me, my involvement on that side is bringing my experience as a coordinator, say, hey, these are some of the details that I'm really interested in being embedded in our package. From there, I want the defensive coaches to coach, and I'll interject where I need to. But I do feel in this job I need to be a head coach. I need to have assistants that really farm their land really well, but I'm not doing my best for Vanderbilt if I'm not in some way involved over there, just because that's who I've been.
I feel like you had a lot of like freshman offensive linemen last season who redshirted and all that, and so I imagine the conditioning and strength workouts would be important for them. Yeah. Where do you think they're at? Like Pitchford and Petchik and Hansen.
All on a positive trajectory. I mean, all have had good years. I think they feel settled, and I think trending towards being able to play on an SEC field, and this spring will be hugely important for them. And again, their connection with their coach, Coach Lynch coming in and having a chance for a full cycle to implement the offense as he sees it. There's going to be an aggregate gain there for those kids having been around the same people and the same systems for a year. So I'm excited for them, and I think this spring's going to be huge.
What's different about the offense with Joey now that he owns it from spring to the season, which was not the case last year?
It's more like, to be fair to him, the position he was put in last year, which was determined to be the right thing at the right time, but everything was moving so fast. We were like on the verge of a season, and you really have to work almost in parts and pieces at that point. And so if you look at our offense a year ago, I think what you see is evolution, but maybe not so much an identity. And I think this, having the off season in the winter, that they've spent so much time together, the offensive staff has, and then their interactions with the players, I think what you're starting to see in the early stages here is an identity growing. And that over the spring and summer and into fall camp, I think that'll be a huge difference for both him, his staff, and his players, where they start anticipating the problems, where they start being ahead of the next call or the next adjustment, and that'll allow us to be more effective in the season.
Where do you think that translates in terms of what we see? Not the small details we wouldn't notice, but the product that you'll put on the field.
Well, yeah. So like football is like such a unique game because you have 11 people, and it's particularly on offense. I mean, like on defense, you can overcome a lot if you just play hard. The guy may be out of a gap, and when you have 11 guys playing together on defense, you tackle the ball in the backfield. It's an awesome thing. On offense, the play depends upon each one of the 11 doing their job. So a receiver has to be lined up right and running the right route. An offensive lineman has to know who they're protecting. And sometimes we get critical of a player when the criticism's the execution. It's we need to make a game call because there's edge pressure, and we don't make it, so the edge blitzer runs off the edge just as East Tennessee State has a free run at the quarterback. And what you will see as you see chemistry and continuity build is fewer of those issues, and so you give your offense a chance then to establish some sense of rhythm. And I felt like as the year went, like we started to get there.
Yeah.
Then it was things like at Florida, not finishing with touchdowns, turning the ball over at times. There were things that we needed to clean up that way, and just we got to get better.
Yeah.
But I do think that the offense strengthened as the year went, and obviously I expect that exponentially here as we get through spring and into the summer.
Did you recruit Kane when you were at Notre Dame? And I guess what do you think he adds to the linebacker group?
I did. I did. I've known the Pattersons for a while, and obviously, played with Ingle, and so, he adds intelligence, experience. He's a good athlete, and he's an incredible worker. So this guy has come in the winter, and again, just like our new staff members, rather than like having to kind of learn or be pulled in a direction, they're helping to set the course. And I can't tell you how meaningful that is for us heading into year two. Like we need the top end of our staff and the top end of our team setting the direction for everyone else. And when a guy like Kane can come in and immediately make us better in our approach, that's gonna speak volumes to the impact he'll end up having on the freshmen coming in, and so on and so forth.
You're really thin with experience and just bodies, period, on offensive line. Is bringing a couple guys in through the portal something you're looking to do there?
We are actively working on it, and obviously we don't think we're done completely forming the roster yet, and there's a lot that happens from now until when we're lining up against Hawaii, but we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to strengthen the team in a way that allows us to be our competitive best. And so certainly that's a position we want to monitor closely. The freshmen that we're bringing in, we want to give them chances to compete, but it's also a hard position to make that jump. And so, we'll determine a lot based off spring, but certainly keeping our options open that way.
About how many scholarships do you have to work with between now and fall?
That is the question.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would be fair to anyone to project that, just because the way the world works now. But we have a rough idea of where we are, and obviously that as we go through the next couple months, that'll start to tighten down, and into the summer we'll know specifically where things are. And again, the goal is that we have 85 scholarship players that give us the best chance to compete and win, that'll be our focus over the next few months.
I saw Derek Greene's not on the roster, just too many injuries, and
Yeah, Derek's still with us. He's going to finish his degree, but he was not able physically to continue to play football. And I heard for Derek, he had he never was able to participate with us from the time I got here, but he's got a great spirit and energy. I'm glad he's going to be a Vanderbilt graduate, and it's huge. And I expect to see him on to a lot of good things beyond football, but unfortunately just wasn't able to overcome the injury.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Guys, thanks.